Hello guys, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys a little bit more about Game Maker. Now, I'm just a kid, as you can probably tell, but I've been doing the Game Maker program for about a term now, and I feel like I'm qualified to make some video tutorials, as when I first started Game Maker, the written tutorials were very confusing to me. It would talk a lot about code, a lot about variables, a lot about stuff that I didn't understand at the time. But now, I find it a lot simpler, and I'll be able to explain to you guys in a lot simpler way that you guys may or may not need, depending on how your teachers taught you. So first of all, we're going to go through the basics with no time to waste. We're going to go through the basics. So you've got your create an object, you create a timeline, create a room. Those two are the most important. Script, we're not going to worry about that now. We're not going to worry about path. Create a background, that's useful, of course. You want your game to have a background. Sound, to create music or sound effects, and create a sprite. Okay, so our first game that we're going to be making today is the very basic. So what I want you to do is, yours might look a little bit different to mine. That's because I have the pro version and you might not. So what you want to go to create a room, and it should pop up with something like this. Now what you want to do is you want to get it so that you can see the outside of the room, because this will come in come in handy, as you may want to play stuff outside the room. So there you go, you've got your room. Now I'm going to teach you this right now. Get into the habit of renaming your things. This, for example, room underscore tut with the underscore, and something simple like RM that you know will stand for room. But that's to do with coding, and we don't have to worry about that right now. What we do need to worry about now is to create an object. Now this might look a little bit confusing to you at the moment, but don't worry, it's quite simple. What we want to do is we want to make this a wall, and as you can see in the title, this is your first game. It's not very complicated, so I want you to do this with me. You can pause the video if you want, you don't have to. So if you're fast enough, so you want to go obj and you want to call this your bowl, because this is a ball clicker game, as basic as it gets. Okay, now you want to create another object called, remember, obj for object underscore wall. Now you don't have sprites for either of the objects, so obviously the object is what holds all of the coding and all of the important stuff. Apart from that, the object isn't much more than that, and the sprite is just what it looks like. So if you did an object without a sprite, it wouldn't look like anything. As you can see here, this is what it will come up with. Nothing, it would be invisible. So that you might want that with some things. You might want to have it rain, and obviously that's going to be its own object. That's not going to be a separate object, you know. So anyway, back onto task. So you want to create two sprites. So you want to do SPR is the thing for sprite, and then you want to do, say for example, bowl. Now you can load a sprite from anywhere, and sprites are really easy to download. They are just downloaded off the internet, so pretty easy. So I have a ton of stuff, as you can see. All of this is Game Maker. I think I called it Game Maker stuff for tuts. There you go. So we're going to name it something you can open quickly, and we're going to make a Pokeball. Now, firstly, to get rid of background, it's as simple as making it make opaque, remove background, and smoothing the edges. Sometimes, as you'll see, it'll come in with a bit of white, but that is easily cleaned up by doing this. So once it's already loaded, we want to edit it, zoom in, and just clean it up a bit. So what I'll do is I'll fast forward here, and I'll pause it, and when it's all cleaned up, I'll just show you quickly. You can edit it in a lot more ways as well, but it's just, for now, we're just going to focus on cleaning it up. Okay, so I'll get you guys back in a second, and you can see how it turns out. And we're back, and as you can see, the object is nice and clean. And there's a few little touch-ups we can do, but apart from that, the object is nice and clean. Now these squares on the background means that it is a translucent background, and you won't find any problems with it, you know. Nice and simple. So Next, we're going to click OK and save that as our sprite. We're going to go to OBJ bowl and select that as our sprite. Now, what you can do is you can go into new and then select it from there, and it will auto select it. That's okay. I find that gets a little bit clustered, but whatever you want. And I'll show you that method now. So you can just click new, load sprite, a block, make opaque, remove background, do whatever you want. This one was fine. It didn't need anything. Great. So now we've got everything that we're going to need. Now, we can place these in the room if we want. I made that a bit big. See, this is your first problem. Some sprites might be a bit too big for your room, while others might be a bit smaller, you know? But it's quite simple to do. Basically, you either get sprites small enough, or you just increase the size of your room. So, there you go. And you should be okay. So what you want to do is, you want to put the sprites, doesn't matter if they go outside the room a bit, as this is your first game, it's not too important. I mean, if you want to
do it right. You know, if you're doing something, you might as well do it right. But in this case, I'm not too worried. And this may be a very, very simple game, but this isn't really showing you how to make the game, it's more to show you about how coding works and all of the buttons. Because I would not recommend this as a first game, I would not turn this in as a first
game, because this is, I have a time limit to set, which is 10 minutes, and this will not take me 10 minutes if I was going fast. So, next we have to do the coding. So we've got our room set out, and if I was to click play, as you can see, should load fairly fast, it would just open up with a room, and I mean it looks good, but that's it. It's just a room. It's nothing special, which obviously we want. So you saw my taskbar a bit there. That's okay. Definitely we want something, you know, special, something good. So what we want is we want to make this bowl an event. Now let me just go through the events. So you have your create event, which is upon its creation it will do this. The destroy event, which is it will destroy itself when the conditions are met. The alarm event, which is kind of complex, we'll do that later. Step event, when something happens. A collision event, keyboard event, mouse event, other, draw, all of this you don't need to worry. At the moment, we're going to make its create event, and all of these do something else. But for now, we're just going to do move freely, move fixed. Sorry, we don't want move fixed, actually, we might. You know what, we'll do move freely. And we'll make it direction 360, speed 4. You know what, speed 8. We'll make it difficult. So that will go in lots of different directions, hopefully, you know. Then we want it to have a collision event with the wall. You need to make sure you've got it right there. And we'll have it where if it collides, it bounces. And we want it not precisely and against solid objects. Now this is important. Of course, you want to make both of your things solid. Now that's a very important part of the game, because if they're not solid, it's obviously not going to bounce off. It's not going to do what you want it to do. So we're going to have a short intermission here for you to catch up if you haven't, and we will see you guys as soon as this intermission is over. Thanks. Bye. Hey guys, just a quick recap so that you know I don't have anything to do with Game Maker or the people that made Game Maker. I am just a student that wants to help other students or other people that are new to the program to get used to it. And I hope some of the people from my school that are doing the Game Maker program a few years into the future will see this and it will help them. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. And we are back from the intermission. Now, obviously, feel free to take note of that intermission as it's kind of important to me, but maybe it's not. I don't know. I haven't decided what's going to be in the intermission yet. Okay, so where we were was we were making everything solid, and we've done that. So we want it to bounce, and now we've made it. There's a create event. It will move in a random direction, and it will bounce against solid objects, which is great. That's all we need. The wall is just there. It's not doing anything. It's solid, and the thing bounces off. Next, we want to do it when it's clicked on. we get points. So mouse left pressed. If you do left button, that'll be whenever it's clicked. It won't be like, you know, whenever. So you wanted to do left pressed, and it'll be on the actual object. Now, setting score is slightly more difficult, but it can be followed quite simply. Pretty much all you have to do is go to your score option, and we want to set the score to 0. Now, that we do not want in the create event. We want set score to 0. And in left pressed, we want set score to 1 relative. Now, new score 1 relative will every time we click, it will go up by 1. Obviously, play. As you can see, it is now moving, and we can click, and you can't see it because my Bandicam's silly. But if you could see it, you would clearly see that as I click on it, my score is going up, and obviously you'd increase the speed to be a bit more, but it is bouncing, and it is bouncing correctly. You might even want to heck, you might want to be a little bit crazy and add in an extra block there and increase its speed. You might want to increase its speed. God knows, I mean, if you want to make your game incredibly hard, you could increase your speed to this high. I wouldn't recommend it, as no one will be able to pass it, and it seems to be having a ball. Well, there you go. I've walked you through how to make your first game, how to shown you what everything is, your objects, your sprites, and you can apply this into lots of different things. So I hope you'd enjoy this video, and I'll see you at another vid. Thanks. Bye.